there are some parts of the AI industry that are probably in a bubble, alphabet, whether or not there's a bubble or not. I think our job is to be winning in both cases, right? If there's no bubble and things carry on, then we're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But if there is some sort of bubble and there's a retrenchment, I think we'll also be best placed to take advantage of that scenario as well.
Gemini has been multimodal since the beginning. Our Gemini 1 models could see, hear, understand vast amounts of information, and natively generate across modalities. This is just the beginning of our Gemini 3 series.
We're really happy with this progress. I think it's an absolutely amazing model, and is right on track of what I was expecting and the trajectory we've been on actually for the last couple of years since the beginning of Gemini, which I think has been the fastest progress of anybody in the industry. And I think we're going to continue doing that trajectory, and we expect that to continue.
Gemini 2 took the next step with advanced reasoning, enabling AI agents to think, code, and take action. We're taking all of this to the next level with Gemini 3.
And then I think, I think there are various things where there's almost a step change. I feel like it's crossed a sort of threshold of usefulness on things like vibe coding. I've been getting back into my games programming. I'm gonna set myself some projects over Christmas on that, because I feel like it's actually got to a point where it's incredibly useful and capable on front end and things like this that perhaps previous versions weren't so good at.
Vibe coding in AI Studio with Gemini 3 lets you build anything. Build entirely new experiences. Create apps that see. Make tools that listen. Build apps with a single prompt.
So, of course, we're only announcing Pro today, but we are also working on the other family of models for the 3.0 era. So you'll see a lot more about that, but pretty soon.
Gemini 3 is the strongest model in the world for multimodality and reasoning. It's our most intelligent model that helps you bring any idea to life.
Do you feel like Google is ahead in the AI race right now?
Look, it's as you guys know very well, it's a ferocious, competitive environment, probably the most competitive there's ever been. So one can never, it's almost really the only important thing is your rate of progress, right, from where you are. And that's what we're focusing on. And we're very happy about that. I don't really see it as a sort of like, we're back in the lead or something like that. We've always pioneered the research part of this. I think it's like getting into our groove in making sure that downstream reflected in all of our products. And I think we're really getting into our stride there.
You could supercharge how you learn, create, plan, take action, analyze complex videos, and more. You could start building with Gemini 3 Pro, available in the API today. We're even introducing a new platform, Google Anti-Gravity. It's our vision of software development at the frontier of model intelligence.
But on top of that, I still think there'll be one or two more things that are required to really get the consistency across the board that you'd expect from a general intelligence, and also improvements still on reasoning, on memory, and perhaps things like world model ideas that you also know we're working on with Simmer and Genie. They all build on top of Gemini, but extend it in various ways. And I think some of those ideas are going to be required as well to fully solve physical intelligence and things like that. So I'm both are true. I'm really happy with the progress of Gemini 3. I think people are going to be pretty pleasantly surprised. But it's on track of what we were expecting the progress to be. And I think that means still 5 to 10 years with one or two more perhaps breakthroughs required.
Starting today, we're rolling out Gemini 3 in our products so you can experience it for yourself. In Google Search, Gemini 3 enables new kinds of generative user interfaces. It codes interactive simulations like this one custom built for your search.
And of course, there's a Gemini app, there's Notebook LM, these AI first products, but there's also powering up all these amazing existing Google products, whether that's Maps, YouTube, Android, search, of course, with AI first features, and actually in some cases reimagining things from an AI first perspective with, often Gemini under the hood. And that's going amazingly well. And I think we're only midway through that evolution, but it's very exciting to see. But that's not to say that it's like there is some kind of diminishing returns. People, when they hear diminishing returns, they think of is it zero or exponential, right? But there's also in between. So there can be diminishing. It's not like gonna like exponentially double with every era, but it's not. It's still well worth doing, right? And extremely good return on that investment. So I think we're in that era. And then, as I said, my suspicion is, although we'll see, is that still one or two more breakthroughs are required. Research breakthroughs are required to get all the way to AGI. But in the meantime, you're going to obviously need as scaled as possible versions of these foundation models, multimodal foundation models that we're building today and still seeing great progress on. I think, well, we've taken quite a long time on this model because it's frontier and, has some new capabilities, and it's very capable, as you can see from the benchmarks. And as Josh said, we make sure to not over index internally on those benchmarks. They're just a proxy for overall performance. And that's why we care about them across the board. And then ultimately how our users experience them. But we spend a lot of time on testing, safety testing, all the different dimensions with the safety institutes and also external testers that we work with as well as, of course, doing a ton of internal testing. So I would say this is our most thoroughly tested model so far. That there are some parts of the AI industry that are probably in a bubble. If you look at like seed investment rounds being multi-$10 billion rounds with basically nothing, it seems, there's talented teams, but it seems like that might be the first signs of some kind of bubble. On the other hand, I think there's a lot of amazing work and value to, at least from our perspective, that we see that not only are there all the new product areas, so Gemini app, Notebook LM, but thinking more forward, robotics, gaming. There's incredible uses of, and not just Gemini, but some of our other models, Genie. You can imagine my old games paying background. I'm itching to think about what could be done there. And drug discovery, we're doing with isomorphic and Waymo. And so there's all these new greenfield areas. They're going to take a while to mature into massive multi-$100 billion businesses. But I think that there's actually potential for half a dozen to a dozen there that I think Alphabet will be involved with, which I'm really excited about. But also immediate returns. We got, of course, the engine room. This is the engine room part of Google, where we're pushing this into all of these incredible, multi-billion user products that people use every day. And there's just we have so many ideas. It's just about execution. Like, how would you reorganize workspace around that? Android, YouTube, there's just so much potential there. And I think a lot of that will also bring in near-term revenue and direct returns, while we're also investing in the future, not to speak of, cloud revenue and TPUs and all of that, which I think is also going to be huge. So I feel really good about where we are as Alphabet, whether or not there's a bubble or not. I think our job is to be winning in both cases, right? If there's no bubble and things carry on, then we're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But if there is some sort of bubble and there's a retrenchment, I think we'll also be best placed to take advantage of that scenario as well.